day you let go of toxic people is the day your life quietly begins to change. Not because the world becomes kinder overnight, but because you finally stop handing your peace to those who never valued it. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones every single day. At first, you barely notice the weight. You adapt to it. You tell yourself it's normal, but with every step, your shoulders ache a little more, your energy fades a little faster, your spirit grows a little heavier. Now imagine someone asking you a simple question. What if the stones were never yours to carry? Most people don't realize that the greatest source of their exhaustion isn't work, failure, or bad luck. It's the people they keep giving access to their minds, hearts, and lives. The friend who only calls when they need something, the partner who makes you question your worth, the family member who constantly drains your energy, the person who smiles in front of you but secretly hopes you stay small. And here's the painful truth. Sometimes the people hurting you are the same people you've spent years trying to keep close today. We're going to explore why letting go of toxic people feels so difficult, why it often hurts more than staying, and why nearly every philosopher, psychologist, and wise teacher throughout history believed that protecting your inner peace is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Because sometimes the biggest transformation in your life doesn't happen when someone enters it. It happens when someone leaves, or when you finally find the courage to walk away. Part 1. The invisible poison. What if the reason you're constantly tired has nothing to do with your schedule and everything to do with the people around you? Most toxic relationships don't begin with obvious warning signs. If they did, nobody would stay. They begin with small compromises, a disrespectful comment that you laugh off, a boundary that gets crossed just this once, a conversation that leaves you feeling guilty for things that aren't your fault. Little by little, something strange happens. You stop trusting your own feelings. You begin explaining away behavior that would shock you if it happened to someone you love. This is why toxic people are dangerous. Not because they attack you openly, but because they slowly reshape your perception of what's normal. Carl Jung once observed that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives and we will call it fate. Many people think they're trapped by fate, but often they're trapped by unhealthy patterns. Think about a plant growing in poisoned soil. No matter how much sunlight it receives, something still feels wrong. The leaves lose their color. Growth becomes difficult. Life becomes a struggle. The problem isn't the plant. The problem is the environment. The same is true for human beings. Some people spend years trying to improve themselves while remaining surrounded by individuals who constantly undermine their confidence. They read books, watch motivational videos, set ambitious goals, yet every time they begin moving forward, someone pulls them backward. The tragedy is that many people mistake familiarity for love. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they're good for your future, and the moment you recognize that truth, everything begins to change, because awareness is where freedom starts. Part 2. The guilt of walking away. The hardest part of letting go isn't losing the toxic person, it's surviving the guilt that follows. There is a moment that almost everyone experiences before they finally leave a toxic relationship. A moment of hesitation. A moment where they know exactly what they need to do, yet somehow can't do it. Not because they don't see the damage, not because they don't understand the pain, but because they feel guilty. Guilty for choosing themselves, guilty for disappointing someone, guilty for creating distance, guilty for finally saying, enough. And this guilt can be incredibly deceptive because it disguises itself as kindness. You tell yourself you're being compassionate, patient, understanding, loyal. But deep down, something else is happening. You're sacrificing your well-being to avoid making someone else uncomfortable. Many toxic people survive in our lives because they have learned to weaponize guilt. The moment you create a boundary, they call you selfish. The moment you stop tolerating disrespect, they accuse you of changing. The moment you prioritize your peace, they make you feel responsible for their suffering. And because you're a good person, it works. You begin questioning yourself. Maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I'm too sensitive, maybe I should give them one more chance, then another and another and another. Years pass. Nothing changes, because the problem was never your lack of patience. The problem was believing that your endless patience could heal someone committed to unhealthy behavior. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Many people misuse this wisdom. They believe their love, loyalty, or understanding is the why that will eventually save a toxic relationship. But some relationships cannot be saved. Some relationships can only be survived, and survival is not the same as living. Imagine being trapped in a room filled with smoke. At first, you barely notice it, then your eyes begin to burn. Your breathing becomes difficult. Your energy fades. When you finally leave the room, the smoke doesn't disappear immediately. Your lungs still hurt. Your eyes still sting. You may even wonder whether leaving was necessary. But only after spending time in fresh air do you realize how much damage the smoke was causing. The same thing happens after leaving toxic people. The guilt lingers. The sadness lingers. The loneliness lingers. But eventually something else arrives. Clarity, and clarity is powerful. You begin noticing how peaceful your mornings feel, how much lighter your mind becomes, how much energy returns to your life. Conversations stop feeling like battles. Your confidence slowly returns. The constant emotional tension begins to fade, and suddenly you understand something that once seemed impossible. You weren't responsible for carrying another person's chaos. You were responsible for protecting your own peace. That realization feels uncomfortable at first, then liberating, then life-changing, because the moment you stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself is the moment you stop living for other people's approval, and when approval no longer controls you, freedom begins, real freedom, the kind that transforms everything. Part 3. Why toxic people fear your growth. The moment you begin growing, some people will stop celebrating you and start resisting you. One of the most painful discoveries in life is realizing that not everyone wants to see you become the person you're capable of becoming. Most people assume that if someone loves them, that person will naturally support their growth, but reality is often more complicated because growth changes relationships. And change makes insecure people uncomfortable. Think about a crab bucket. If one crab tries to climb out, the others instinctively pull it back down. Not because they hate the crab, but because its escape challenges their reality. The same thing happens in human relationships. The moment you begin setting boundaries, people who benefited from your lack of boundaries become upset. The moment you start respecting yourself, people who benefited from your self-doubt become uncomfortable. The moment you stop tolerating mistreatment, people who depended on your tolerance feel threatened, and suddenly, the very people who claim to care about you begin criticizing the changes they once encouraged. This is why growth often feels lonely, not because you're doing something wrong, but because evolution naturally creates distance. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu understood this when he said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Yet every transformation requires a death. Not a physical death, a psychological one. The death of old habits, old identities, old attachments, and sometimes old relationships." Many people want transformation without loss. They want peace without boundaries, confidence without discomfort, growth without sacrifice. But life rarely works that way. Imagine a tree growing deep in a crowded forest. As it reaches higher toward the sunlight, some branches must break, some leaves must fall, some roots must stretch into unfamiliar ground. Growth itself requires separation. The tragedy is that many people shrink themselves to keep others comfortable. They silence their ambitions, hide their intelligence, suppress their dreams, pretend to be less than they are, all to preserve relationships that were never built on genuine love in the first place, because real love does not fear your growth. Real friendship does not compete with your success. Real connection does not punish you for evolving. The people who truly belong in your life will not ask you to become smaller so they can feel bigger. They will celebrate your expansion, encourage your healing, support your transformation. And if someone disappears when you begin becoming stronger, wiser, healthier, and more self-respecting, then perhaps they were never attached to you. They were attached to the version of you they could control. That realization hurts, but it also frees you. Because once you understand this truth, you stop chasing acceptance from people who only loved your limitations. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop apologizing for your growth. And for the first time, you begin building a life around authenticity instead of approval. A life that belongs to you, not to the expectations of everyone around you. Part 4. The Peace. Waiting on the other side of letting go. What if the life you've been searching for isn't waiting for you somewhere in the future, but underneath everything you've been refusing to release? After people leave toxic relationships, many expect an immediate feeling of happiness. But that isn't usually what happens. At first, there is silence. A strange, unfamiliar silence. No constant drama, no emotional roller coasters, no endless arguments replaying in your mind. No need to explain yourself every day. And strangely enough, that silence can feel uncomfortable. Because when chaos becomes familiar, peace feels foreign. Many people return to toxic relationships not because they were happy there, but because they were accustomed to the suffering. The human mind often prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. This is why letting go requires courage long after the goodbye. You must learn to sit with the emptiness, learn to trust the quiet, learn to believe that peace is not boredom, peace is healing. The philosopher Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. Most people misunderstand this idea. They assume attachment means love, but attachment is not love. Attachment says, I need you in order to be okay. Love says, I appreciate you, but I do not lose myself in you. Toxic relationships thrive on attachment. Healthy relationships thrive on freedom, and freedom begins the moment you stop allowing your value to depend on someone else's treatment of you. Imagine carrying a heavy chain for years. You become so used to its weight that you forget what it feels like to walk freely. Then one day the chain breaks. At first, you still walk cautiously, slowly, carefully, as if the weight is still there. But eventually you realize something remarkable. The chain is gone, and so is the burden. This is what happens when you truly let go of toxic people. You rediscover pieces of yourself you thought were lost forever. Your laughter returns, your creativity returns, your confidence returns, your curiosity returns. Most importantly, your relationship with yourself returns, because every toxic relationship steals something. Sometimes it's your energy, sometimes it's your confidence, sometimes it's years of your life. But the greatest theft is your connection to who you truly are. The moment that connection returns, everything changes. You stop begging for respect. You stop chasing validation. You stop proving your worth. You stop abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. And for the first time, you understand something profound. The goal was never to make everyone stay. The goal was to become the kind of person who remains loyal to themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The people in your life may come and go. Some will love you. Some will betray you. Some will teach you painful lessons disguised as heartbreak. But none of them determine your worth. That responsibility belongs to you. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. Letting go of toxic people does not change everything because they leave. It changes everything because you finally stop leaving yourself. And when you stop abandoning yourself, an entirely new life begins. A quieter life, a stronger life, a freer life. A life where peace is no longer something you search for. It becomes something you protect. And once you learn to protect your peace, you become someone that chaos can no longer control. So let me leave you with one final question. If someone constantly drained your energy, diminished your confidence, and disturbed your peace, yet you met them today for the very first time, would you invite them into your life? Or are they only there because you've become accustomed to carrying what was never yours to carry? Think about that. Because sometimes the most important door you'll ever open is the one leading out of a relationship that no longer serves your soul. And sometimes the greatest act of self-love is not holding on, it's letting go. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on who brings peace into your life and who repeatedly takes it away, because your future is shaped not only by the people you choose to keep, but also by the people you finally find the courage to leave behind.